Yeah, Cats. Like the movie Cats that did so well in the theaters.
It was downright creepy.
It had Taylor Swift, had
Yeah, downright creepy.
Rebel Wilson,
Yeah, downright creepy. And
James
Jason
Gordon,
Derulo
Jason Derulo, James Gordon. Sounds like an
and
all-star
James
cast.
Corden. It sounds like
Yeah.
a recipe for disaster.
Okay. It was beautiful. As beautiful as episode 6 of House of the Dragon.
So in that sense, it was very, very gruesome. Is that what you're saying?
Right. We're here. No, I guess so, yeah. I guess when it comes to cats, naked cats. But then I guess cats are not naked because they have fur.
They are naked.
Okay. So yeah, all the cats were naked.
Yeah, that's why
In
it's so creepy.
cat suits.
Exactly.
We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the princess and the queen. And we joined them 10 years later.
Yeah.
Queen Alicent and Princess Renea. It's kind of hard. I wonder, do you ever wonder if the royal family has issues like this, succession? I mean, we're in a more civilized time, but do you ever think that they
Yeah.
would have oh, I'm next, I could be the king, I could be the queen.
Yeah. It's always messy succession. Well, not always, but it can get very, very messy.
Did you feel when we did this 10-year time jump, you felt the characters were the same or were they different? I mean, obviously they're the same. They're not the same. They're the same characters, but not the same people, obviously, because we have
I think they definitely saw a gigantic growth, like a sudden jump.
I saw the jump in growth. That was amazing.
Yeah, their characters definitely seem different because they're supposed to be different characters.
Right.
Or different people. Like they're more of what they were or what they were heading towards before the jump.
Right. And
I don't even know if that makes sense, but they were more.
There are more people that are more than they were.
That's like they were more
than before.
They were more than before. They were more.
Well, I mean, coming off of kind of that big, marriage, and then of course the death, right, of Selena. Well, not Selena, but
What are you talking about? No death yet.
No, there was the death of what's his name's boyfriend.
Oh, I honestly don't remember. Yeah, Laenor's. Well, you can't call it his boyfriend because they're a secret, but yeah.
Secret boyfriend.
Yeah, Laenor's love interest, we should say.
It's
his latest his out.
Do you think they should have kept Renea's first child a secret? If it was going to be Sir
You
Kristen
can't
Cole?
keep it a secret.
No, I mean the show, the showrunners, should they have made us kind of wonder if the first child was going to be Sir Kristen Cole's or if it was going to be Harwin Strong?
I don't know how you would do that because it's pretty obvious from just looking at the baby.
No, I mean, well, Sir Kristen
or
Cole
looking at the children.
Yeah, but both of them have black hair,
Yeah, so that was the clue. That's the point of it, is because they are trying to keep it a secret.
Well, no, I'm talking about the show. The show, I think clearly states that all the children are Harwin Strong's children.
No,
right?
the show doesn't state that at all.
They make it allude to that, right? I mean, you don't.
No, they don't allude to anything. It's just the people surrounding them that's reacting that makes it so obvious. But no one's saying it out loud. No one's pointing it out. We even see it in the first few minutes that King Viserys himself is in denial.
No,
it's not like anyone is. No one's stating it.
No, I'm not talking about it being Laenor's. I'm talking about Kristen Cole's and Harwin Strong's. The first.
Wait, what do you mean Kristen Cole's?
Because Kristen Cole and Renea had sex, right?
None of them are Kristen Cole's children.
I know they're not, but I would think that it would be a little bit more, I guess, twisted if they were like, oh yeah, you don't know if this Sir Kristen Cole's.
But we do know it's not his because she took that potion.
Well, she didn't
She
They
took the
didn't see
tea.
her taking the tea. They didn't see her taking the tea, but it's assumed that she did take the tea.
Well, okay, if you want to play the semantics, sure, but yes, she took the tea, so there was no chance of it being Sir Kristen Cole's.
Right, and that's kind of crazy. Yeah, Plan B. Yeah, just boop like that.
It is Plan B.
We're done. We're done. But with the 10-year time skip, we're seeing Renea kind of giving birth to her third child, right?
Yeah.
Or was it her second child?
No, it's a third one, I think.
Her third child. Yeah, and I feel it is very interesting because having a third child, like all these children's is like just baby making popping out like from the oven.
That was like how they were treated back in those days, in those
You're the
medieval
baby
times.
maker. Right, and then
Yeah.
we also have Queen Alicent has 3 kids too, right?
Does she? I thought she only had 2.
Well, she has 4 total.
Oh no, she has. Yeah, that's right. She does have. She has 2 boys, and a girl.
Yeah,
So
she has
what is it?
Aegon, Aemon, and the daughter, right? And then the other.
Yeah, it's the daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, and then did you know that the daughter actually has a green sight,
What do you mean green sight? What's that?
like can see the future?
Oh well, they didn't make that famous. They didn't make that clear.
They're kind of giving subtle hints because in this episode they talk about the daughter like mentioning different things that she sees, like she has dreams, right? She has different dreams.
Well, she had dreams. I didn't know that.
Well, she talks about it when she's playing with her bugs. She likes playing with bugs. So-
Yeah, that didn't know they were dreams though. I thought that was just her mumbling.
Well, she talks about like, they get.
Oh, I mean, I understand. Like it was a lot of those, foretelling a lot of things were to come to happen, but I didn't know like they were necessarily. I didn't know they're necessarily dreams.
I think some people are like alluding to her having green sight. So
I didn't even know what green sight was until you mentioned it.
Oh, okay. Children of the Forest have something called green sight, like they can see.
The elves?
Yeah, they do.
Oh.
No, it's Children of the Forest. Are they elves? I don't think Children of the Forest are elves.
The children of the forest, are those the mystical creatures that Bran encounters?
Yeah, and then they're the ones who created the
Night Walkers?
the White Walkers. Yeah.
White Walkers? Yeah. I call them elves.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know they're not elves, but I do know that, yeah, okay, those children of the forest are the ones that the first men fought when they first landed.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I don't know how some of these people do get powers. I was watching some of the old recaps, and it seemed like
Well, I mean, that's great because I think one of the biggest criticisms from the show of Game of Thrones was that the writers D&D left out a lot of mysticalness, like a lot of mysterious powers that played a part in the story in the book.
right. Yeah, and but it was always never over the top. It was very subtle, like
Yeah,
here's
it was very it was very, very, very subtle powers, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we see the opening scene of episode 6 where Renea is like literally giving birth, and right when the baby pops up, the midwife is all like, "Oh yeah, the queen would like to see you." And
Oh
she kinda-
yeah, did you get like the same vibes as like just shame scene from Game of Thrones?
very similar because she kind of was like just gave birth and was ready to like walk up the stairs. And the thing is, I personally could never experience what women go through, but I can't imagine it being easy to walk or carry a baby or go up the stairs to see
Yeah.
the queen after giving birth. And I didn't realize there was an afterbirth too. What is the afterbirth?
Why are you asking me?
Oh.
I'm not.
I thought you might know.
I'm
You don't
not.
know anything about the afterbirth?
Nope. Sorry, I think I missed that part in my biology class.
Okay. In my sex education
in my
class.
sex ed class.
Yeah. Right.
But no, like it immediately reminded me of like when Cersei Lannister had to walk through King's Landing and they were shaming her.
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably was Queen Alicent's
Intention? Yeah, probably.
intention.
I mean, because like the big part of this entire episode is just the legitimacy of her children, right? Them
Right,
not
and-
being of Sir Aenor's blood, because they look nothing like him.
Right, and none of them have the typical blonde hair that a Targaryen would have. So
Yeah, that's also interesting too. They don't
black
have
of
the
hair.
They don't have. Yes, they're all black of hair, exactly.
Yeah.
But the fact that she had to walk through the entire council or the the court or whatever, like the courtyard,
Yeah.
carrying the baby where everyone can see, right? And it's just so awkward because everyone is aware of the fact that those are, not Sir Laenor's children.
Right, and that's what Queen Alicent wanted to verify. She's like, "Hey, after you give birth, come over to the Queen's chamber."
Yeah,
so I
she
can
was.
see
That
your
was
baby."
that was pure evil. I
Yeah.
gotta say, in terms of like cruelty, that was like top notch cruelty right there.
Yeah, but I don't understand. It's like Queen Alicent is a nice person. Was a nice person.
Well, when your children are being threatened with their very lives, I feel
Yeah.
like
Let me find out.
A
Well,
lot
I
of
guess-
mothers would.
She wanted to see if it was gonna be a legitimate heir, right?
Oh, I'm sure she already knew. I'm
Well,
sure. I
that's-
mean, yeah, yes, she had to. She wanted to verify, but I'm 100% sure she already knew in her mind what the outcome was going to be. She just wanted to have. I feel like she just wanted Rhaenyra walk through everybody, showing the baby.
The shame,
Yeah,
but
feeling the shame of everyone's judgment.
that's so crazy. Well, and so shortly after that, like you said, Viserys was like, "Oh, healthy young boy, right?" And it's like, "Oh, I think he has your nose." Because that's
Yeah,
Laenor.
poor. Oh man, poor Viserys. He wants nothing but to like, keep the peace.
Yeah, he just wants to keep it PC.
But I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I just found out something about Viserys. He's been suffering from leprosy this whole
I
time.
already know.
Oh, okay, great. You didn't care
Leprosy.
to
That's why he lost his arm, leprosy.
you didn't care to share.
I mean, you need to know. I knew that the leeches weren't helping.
Yes, we all knew that, and been cutting off limbs from him.
I don't know. He looks so old after 10 years. I'm actually surprised he's still alive. Because even in the last episode, 10 years ago, at the last episode, he looked like he was like ready to just like give in the towel,
Yeah, guess leprosy will do that to you.
Yeah. So
Kind
do
of
that.
reminds me of like King it kind of reminds me of King Baldwin the Fourth of Jerusalem. A little bit.
looks like him.
But
Like looks or acts.
reminds me a little bit of the situation. So this little historical fact. During this whole century AD, this takes place in between the second and third crusades. There was a king named King Baldwin the Fourth, who was king of Jerusalem, but he was called the Leper King because he had leprosy.
Oh shoot! I wonder. So that's the funny thing. It's like, they did say that George R.R. Martin does pull a lot.
And it's like his reign was. Obviously the characters are not remotely close to each other, but their situations do bear some resemblance. Like King Baldwin, he reigned during a time of peace. He tried to keep the peace between the Christians and the Muslims, right? But then obviously there were a lot of people in his court that were trying to undermine that and go to war and all that stuff. Anyway, when he eventually dies, war breaks out. between
Oh shoot.
the Christians and the Muslims, and then that kind of leads into, and then certain events afterwards his death leads into the Third Crusade.
Oh wow.
So, I mean, I'm imagining that for Viserys, when he dies, when he eventually dies, you know, at the end of the season, whatever you were talking about, I'm sure there's some big event's going to happen, like Civil War or something like that. It's going to take place.
I think yeah. Well, I mean, because the only person protecting Renee is the king, right?
Yes, and like I mean, you can already see the division between House Black and House Green, right? People are starting to take sides. We can see that there are people pledging their allegiance to one side or the other, and there's also like, the discord between the two. It just widens every single time something happens.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting more kids. Everyone's getting more lovers. Everyone has like their team rallied, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so yeah, it's interesting to see that kind of comparison.
Yeah, and from here we kind of go into the kids, right? Like so we see the kids kind of playing in the, well, not playing, I guess training in the courtyard, right?
Sword training.
And,
yeah,
sword training. And we see Leno Strong is also he's the commander of the King's Guard, right?
No, he's the commander of the Night's Watch.
Oh, the Night's
Watch. Sorry, not the Night's Watch, the City Watch.
Oh, the City Watch. Yeah, so that's something I don't know the difference of. There's a City Watch, there's a Night's Watch, and then of course.
So the Night's Watch are the men in black who guard the wall in the north.
Okay, yeah, that's the Night's Watch. Okay.
That's the Night's Watch. The City Watch, that's just your average guard in the city. They're there to like protect the peace.
And he's the commander, but also the father of the kids.
Well, yes.
Well, illegitimate father. Who knows, those bastards. But they do you know, they start fighting, and then you could kind of tell that they're, you know, Lena Strong is pretty upset, right? Because, you know, Allison's kids are kind of beating the crap out of them while they're all training, and then Sir Kristen Cole kind of eggs him on, and he kicks him out of the.
Wait, it's not Lionel Strong, it's Harwin Strong.
Oh, Harwin Strong. I'm so sorry.
Lionel Strong is the father. He's the
hand of the king.
Hand of the king.
Yeah, he's the current hand of the king. And so all of this is kind of happening all the while, like in front of Viserys, and you know, I mean, obviously Renea is still recovering from childbirth, but they're training, and then you can see Harwin actually is.
Well, I mean, it's just, again, I think it's just to iterate the fact that what's so painfully obvious in front of one's eyes, without actually having to see it. You know, like, you know, the saying,
kind of like a big secret, like an elephant in the room, but nobody talks about it.
It is elephant in the room. It's like the saying goes, like, actions speak louder than words, you know?
Right. Yeah. So, but I mean, we all know, the audience knows, the kingdom knows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he gets pretty upset, and him getting upset gets him kicked out, unfortunately, because he gets egged on by Sir Kristen Cole and gets kicked out, unfortunately. It's like, you're gone.
Sure, we'll call it kick it out. But yeah, he's sent back to Harrenhal. Now you can say Harrenhal.
Okay, back to Harrenhal.
At the end he's like sent back to Harrenhal by his father to become the lord of that castle, of that land.
Yeah. Okay, so you got kicked out or whatever, booted out, and now you get to be the king of Harrenhal. But simultaneously, even the dad decides to not be a part of it too, right? He's like, I can't in good conscience be the advisor to the king. So he kind of boots himself out too.
He tries to do that, but the king is like, no, I need you here.
Well, that's what he says, but doesn't see, and I'm trying to understand like the whole dynamics, because like again with House of the Dragon, the pacing is just so fast, because even in this episode, and we only have
So Lionel Strong, right, the Hand of the King, after the fight breaks out between Sir Kristen Cole and Harin, right? The father Lionel is like, oh, I am my judgment is compromised because I can't give you non-biased opinions anymore, right? And so therefore I can't serve you effectively as a hand, and so I want to tender my resignation. But and the king is like, well, no, because you can't do that because I need you here. I mean, he didn't say that. I mean, it was a little bit more tactful, where he's like, oh, to what offense? To what offense are you saying you're compromised on, right? Which is related to Rhaenyra's
being the mother,
children.
Right?
No, Rhaenyra's children's legitimacy.
Yeah.
Grandchildren. Yeah, and it's like the fact is since Lionel can't outright say it to the king that, it's because of Rhaenyra's children's legitimacy, he has to remain the Hand of the King. And so he retracts his resignation.
I mean, later in the episode, both of them die in the fire.
Well, okay, so yeah, I mean, but the thing is, Lionel makes one request that he take his son personally to Harrenhal. Right. So that he can get them set up to become the next lord of it, right? Yeah. Since he is the heir, right? But obviously, the other son, the younger son, Larys Strong, right? The one with the lame foot.
Yeah, lame foot.
He takes advantage of the situation and aligns himself with the Hightower, with Alicent Hightower.
Yeah.
Right. So I was kind of right and wrong about the Strongs from like episode 3. It's like, yeah, the Strongs were technically not necessarily good, but it wasn't necessarily Larys or Harwin that were of concern. It was the younger son, the one that pretends to be innocent and ignorant of the entire situations.
Like, oh, I'm crippled, so I'm innocent.
Well, yeah, he uses his crippled status to lower the guard of people around him so that they can trust him more, right?
That's crazy. Well, I mean, he seems to be the very like conniving type of guy throughout this series, and kind of just creating all this chaos, like in the hopes that he knows that Alicent will repay him for his sacrifice.
So I changed my mind. It's not Otto Hightower that reminds me of Littlefinger anymore. It's now Larys Strong that reminds me of Littlefinger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see,
because Larys is much more the character archetype to like stay behind the shadows, to manipulate the situation to whatever ends he wants, right?
Yeah, and then so both of them die in the fire, so they're dead.
Yes. At the very, very end, Lionel Strong arranges for the death of his brother and son. His brother and father. Sorry.
He actually goes to the prison to find these mercenaries, like these people.
Yeah. I mean, they cuts off their tongue. Yeah. It's very, very brutal. It's to ensure, like, he grants them their freedom in exchange for their forever silence and loyalty, right, to him.
That's why they cut. I didn't understand 100% why he cut their tongue, but that kind of makes sense because I guess you can't really talk with your tongue.
Exactly. So
but
in
can
case
they write it down, or they don't?
Well, I mean, not everyone can write. Who says they can write? So. Anyway, it's like, and besides, no one really why would they do that, right? They were granted their freedom. To write it down would mean they would be willing to give it up, but I feel like they're the type of people that are aware of the situation where if they do give it up, they're dead. So they'd rather just keep it secret, right? Anyway, so yeah, his henchmen are silent assassins, set up a fire on Harrenhal. And I thought that was pretty clever because, Harrenhal is believed to be a cursed place.
Right. And so it kind of legitimizes the curse, right? Of the king and the son.
No. What? No, the curse of Harrenhal, which is when Aegon the Conqueror burnt it down, it said that the souls of those who were burned alive remain there.
Oh,
It's
is
a
that
ghost
like a
story,
curse?
huh?
Oh, does that make it a
It's a
curse?
ghost. Yeah, it said that they're cursed. Yeah, it said that the halls of Harrenhal are cursed with the souls of those who died during the siege.
And oh,
So the fact, and they'll, and there's you can still hear screams of the people who are burned, and the fact that
well,
Lionel and
alright.
Harin were both burned in a freak fire.
Right.
It just kind of plays on that superstition.
Yeah. I mean, and then so not, people are none the wiser. They don't care.
Exactly. No one's like gonna question it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and the hardest thing is, it does well, not the hardest thing, but what this does is it sets it up for Otto Hightower to actually come back as Hand of the King. So
Yeah. The thing that really like confuses me though is like Alicent Hightower's character in all of this, or her thoughts in all of this.
she seems
Like I
like a,
know.
go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
No, I mean, for me, it seems like she still has remnants of old Allison. I mean, I think it's a little bit different now that she has her kids because the hardest thing is, I think the time is ticking, Time is ticking, and then right now we have to figure out what's going to happen when Viserys dies.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I'm saying like it's confusing because like Alicent is this person that's supposed to be that she wants to she's like appears to be like this innocent victim, right, in this whole situation, right? She's just trying to do whatever she can for the children, and but at the same time, when she asks Lyra Strong in order to intervene and do something, right? She acts extremely like
She feels sad.
surprised
Yeah.
at the act when it's finally come to pass. It's like, and for me, it's like, what were you expecting? What were you? What kind of? What was the expectation you were
Like, I want you to
expecting?
punish them, but not punish them that much. Not that much.
Not even punishment, but it's like, what were you expecting him to do? Like, just talk to them, saying to give up their position? Obviously, it was going to end with murder. Like, everything in Game of Thrones ends with murder, one way or another.
Well, I mean, she doesn't know she's in the game herself, but yeah.
She does know she's in the game. She
I
was
mean,
aware.
not like it. I mean, she's in the game, but then it's like, you know what I mean, figurative.
And then she acts like all horrified.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
at the act.
I think that's what's really hard about her character is the fact that I think she genuinely like wants to be a good person.
Yeah.
Like as she was before. And the hard thing is that in order for you to be queen or in order for you to be king, you have to do a lot of hard things that people might not like you for, or things that you might not like yourself for. That's, I mean, it happens in life, even in business, like that kind of stuff happens. And
yeah. So my point is like, I'm not quite sure like how to judge Alicent at this point, right? Because she's not truly evil or she's not truly good.
Right. Which, I mean, has always been kind of the underlining theme for most of George R.R. Martin's characters, right? Like, no one's really good or bad. It's just that the things they do, like, have them come across as good or bad.
Yeah, and so, like, I just don't really know how to feel about her right now.
Yeah, it is hard. But that's what makes the show really good. It's like, you have this character that you don't know if you should like.
Rhaenyra, I can definitely already start to dislike her.
Right.
And the same could be said for like pretty much every other character, like even Sir Kristen Cole, because I get it, he's heartbroken, but he's also acting, very, very immature at the same time too. Yeah. I also dislike Sir Harwin Strong just because,
he's dead.
I mean, he's all up in that business. And then also Laenor, and also the husband, Laenor Valerian.
You don't like him either?
I don't think I'm particularly like his character too much. I think in this series, House of the Dragon, I don't think I like any of the characters so far. I mean, that's probably why it makes it so good.
I like Viserys.
I don't even like Viserys.
Why are you watching the show for?
No. I probably that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's what makes the show so good. Is like there is so many characters that are so conflicting with one another, right?
Right,
They
yeah,
have two sides or two or three sides to them that I can't make up my mind. But at the same
right.
time, that also means that I really don't have a character that I can really I'm rooting for particularly. Like
Yeah,
they could have just all died, or they all could die, and I would be like, yeah, they died.
right. Which, spoiler alert, may happen.
Okay, anyway, you don't have to. Yeah, so it's like it's just there's no character right now that I've come across that I like. Like I still don't like Damon.
Yeah, well, I mean, they set out Damon to be an unlikable character to begin with.
I mean, I
So,
know he's gonna have his own character arc and progression, but even so, I don't think I could ever like the guy.
right, yeah.
And I definitely don't. And so it's like every new character, like yes, there are good redeeming qualities,
Right.
but there's just something about them I just particularly don't like about them. And I don't think I could ever like truly root for their success, like
Well,
or
the
cheer
good thing
for them.
is that
So
I
yeah,
mean,
like that's what makes the show so good for me. Is like I'm enjoying watching it because of that
yeah, I
fact.
think for my prediction, I feel like these characters that we know right now are probably not going to be the main characters, right? The main characters are going to be the kids. So that's why I think that after season one, it's
Well,
going to be.
I'm gonna make a prediction where I'm probably not gonna like the children at all. Like I already don't like Aegon
Oh,
character and Aemon,
yeah. I
especially
know, yeah.
Aegon.
Well, it is funny. I don't know why they made all the characters so unlikable.
No, I think that's just that's the intention. Like I think that's like by design by George
Right.
R. Martin.
But people still watch it. I heard 25 million
Yeah,
more people have picked up the show. So
it is an interesting thing because it's like every character you meet has like a wide range has a wide dynamic of personalities,
yeah.
of good and bad characteristics.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
But I just don't like I just don't like any of them.
I mean, one character I do like is
Yeah.
Lena, like Lena
Lena?
Valerian. I like her actually. Her character. After the wedding, and then she does get the dragon Rhaegal, which is kind of cool. Rhaegar, and the thing is Rhaegar is the biggest dragon. And I mean they don't necessarily talk about how she got him as a dragon, but I mean of course she does talk to King Viserys like on episode 1 about how she's like, oh, I heard the stories, like so excited, right?
Sure.
Which then leads us to an even like deeper tragedy, with Lena giving birth to her third child,
Well, and then facing difficult birth, right?
right, exactly. So like she's on her third child. Actually, everybody was on their third child, it seems. Everyone was on their third child. Renea, third child. Lena, third child. And obviously she does have a difficult birth where the maesters actually aren't able to help her out. And her finding that out, like she, I mean, obviously is devastated, but she actually decides to end her life.
Yeah, because I mean, plus she wants to die on her own terms. Like I
Right.
get that kind of she's that kind of person.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
when she was speaking to Damon, she wants to die a dragon
Dragon
rider's
Rider.
death, right?
But why not just die from fire, dragon fire,
Yeah.
when she
Getting
did?
burned
And
by his
it was a little bit sad because you could tell that the dragon didn't want to burn her. You know what I mean? But she kept commanding, and I think that at that point it was just like, okay, well, just do it. I don't know. I think they said that dragons and Targaryens have like a psychic connection, right? They can feel what they feel.
Something like that. They have some sort of bond. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not just the Targaryens, but like any of the dragon lords from Old Valyria, right? So the Targaryens were one of them. I'm not really quite sure how it works with the Valerians because even though they're an old family from Old Valyria, they were never a powerful family during those times.
Right.
They didn't control dragons at that time.
They didn't, but I mean, they're also part like Lionel and Lionel. Aren't they both also Targaryens?
Oh, I true. I guess they do have Targaryen blood in them from the mother. Yeah,
So that's why they do get dragons themselves.
Okay, yeah.
So, but I think it's kind of interesting. I mean, obviously she commands her dragon to burn her, and then she's boom, burnt, gone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And 5 episodes of building her up, gone. I don't feel the pain of these deaths as much as season 1 of Game of Thrones. With everybody, it's like, I don't know if this is supposed to be impactful in any way. I mean,
I think I was more sad about Lena's death, actually. I think that was really tragic.
The Dracarys death.
Yes, I think her death was very, very tragic. I think I just don't particularly like her because I don't think I really got a chance to really know her.
Who she was, right?
Like, you first introduce her as a child, then you kind of see her as a young woman, right? Being
is being pawned off as a heir, right? To the
she has a child, right? And then later on we see her again, when Daemon starts to court her.
Yeah. And then they have 2 kids, right? So.
Yeah, and so I don't think we really got a chance to, warm up to that character.
Yeah.
Or, like, she didn't have enough screen time, so I think that's probably it. But I do think her death was probably the most tragic, and I think that was probably the most heartfelt one so far.
Yeah, I felt the same way too. But the good thing is this kind of frees up Daemon, and it also frees up Rhaenyra to kind of like be wife and husbandless, right? Or loverless.
Wait, what? Rhaenyra? Yeah. No, she's still married.
Oh, well, I mean, her lover is dead, right?
Oh, but she's still married. I don't know if Daemon actually loved Laena, right? At all. I mean, maybe she.
Oh, Rhaenyra. I mean, he doesn't like anybody. He loves himself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. He's very He's a very complicated person.
Yeah, it is hard to know what his end goal is, but it does seem that part of it is to usurp, or maybe he wants to get the Iron Throne. I think. I mean, seems like
I don't know. Like, I think he did at one point, and now ever since he married Laena, I think he gave up on the aspiration to become the next king.
Oh, and had kids, had heirs of his own.
Because, like, they were talking before the childbirth scene, right? Of Laena. He was talking about, like, maybe he wants to stay in that city, right, away from King's Landing, from all the court drama and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think we can kind of see that his character is changing quite a bit, but I really don't know, like, his true intentions and, like, what he really thinks and feels.
Yeah.
Well, at least for me anyway. I don't really know.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, right, this is all setting the stage for kind of what's to come, like the big battle, right? The Fire and Blood, arc. And so I mean, after that, and it also opens up Laena's dragon to actually have a new dragon rider as well, right? So there's so many things that are kind of being set up to actually for the pieces to fall into place, so to speak. So all we can do is kind of just like see what happens in the next episode. And for me, I think this episode was okay. The time jump was a little bit abrupt. There was nothing super significant that made me feel like
it's a little bit jarring. Yeah. To start off with,
I think it was just that with the time jump and all of this kind of happening, like the marriages and the deaths, they all just seemed very rushed. I think if we felt the impact of the 10 years and they were able to, include, scenes that made us feel like 10 years had passed, it would have been great. But now we're just like, oh, here, we're here at 10 years,
Yeah, I don't know if it would have been better, though, if they slowed things down and, like, expanded out into multiple seasons rather than, like,
I think
like really like 2 seasons or something like that.
Yeah, I think they just want to get to the meat and potatoes of it all. because that's what this prequel is. We got to cover 300 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the episode. Let us know if you have any comments or questions. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're gonna cover House of the Dragon every week. We're finally on episode 6. Thank goodness. And then so we're catching up, and hopefully we only have a few more episodes to go. Season finale is episode 10. So stay tuned here, and we'll see you next time.